Metroid is one of my favourite game series ever made. I love the exploration, the power-ups, the world, the settings, and so much more. Since Nintendo can't really make any new entries in the series other than the long-awaited Metroid Prime 4, recently I've been replaying all the Metroid games. Upon finishing the Game Boy Advance games, I found an entry in the series that I don't think many people besides the long-time fans would actually know of, and it's really interesting. I just wanted to do a video about it. Also, if you can't tell, I'm a bit sick right now. I think I sound shit in the recording, so that's your fault, not mine. Metroid Prime was released in 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, before you go in my comment section and tell me, I know this game, you even streamed it once, let me finish my sentence. It was released 3 times. So, once for the Nintendo GameCube, one on the Metroid Prime trilogy on the Wii, and an exclusive Japan rebranding for the new Play Control, but there was also a reimagining for the game released for the Nintendo DS. Metroid Prime Pinball is a weird game, like a really weird game. It's a retelling of Metroid Prime using the same enemies, levels, elements of Metroid Prime, but it's pinball instead. This isn't even the first Nintendo game to have a pinball spin-off. The same developers of the game, Fuse or Silverball Studios in 2004, also released Mario Pinball Land, where they have a canonical reason for Mario in the game turning into a pinball. Metroid Prime Pinball, on the other hand, doesn't even have a reason. You're just Samus in a morph ball, doing pinball things. The game is split up into mission and areas from Metroid Prime, and I think this concept is really cool. You get to play levels like the Frigate Orphan and Talon Overworld, but I just don't think this should have been released on a DS cartridge. Like, it's really confusing, and having a story-based pinball game, it's not really story-based, but like, you have to like clear things to go into the next levels, which, you know, others can find difficult with a nice experience to pinball like I am. It just isn't executed the best. Now, I know a way on how to get people interested in pinball. My dad, he loves pinball, yet I don't think he'd buy a pinball game for the DS because it's got pinball in the title. He doesn't know what a Metroid Prime is, so he just wouldn't buy it. If they released like an actual pinball machine that was a Metroid pinball machine, I feel like it would have been better, but it would have been harder to execute because of all the bosses in Metroid. I actually really like the gameplay. It's fun to explore a few of the levels from Metroid Prime in pinball form. There's even different modes. One of my favourite parts is that you have to, in order to get artifacts, you have to, beat little modes, and I really like that. It's a good thing from Metroid Prime that makes it feel a lot more similar to the real game. I guess my biggest point is the lack of content. There's only 6 tables here, and if you're like, just your average pinball Joe, you won't even see past the first 2. A third if you count the multiplayer one, and I really don't count that. I just wish there was more to do from the beginning. I get like you have to progress, but like I just find it difficult because I'm not as good as pinball. A positive I can give is the soundtrack. It is phenomenal. My favourite song being the Pirate Frigate main theme. It's the Brawl remix of Brimstall without that narrator at the start. It just goes really hard. All the songs in the soundtrack have such a good Metroid vibe to them. It's honestly my favourite part of the game. As someone who has bought the Portal levels from Pinball FX3 not once but twice, you could say I enjoy a fair bit of pinball from time to time. This is just such an odd release in my opinion. I think it's a cool concept, but other than that it feels really strange. It's an odd release for sure, and definitely something weird for the Metroid series. A series loved for 2D and 3D gameplay has a weird pinball spin-off for the DS. So that's my opinion for the weirdest Metroid game you've never even played or never even heard of. I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't heard of it. I only sold 26,000 copies. And it seems like this was Nintendo's start of, having bad luck with the Metroid series, because after Metroid Prime 3, things went downhill very, very fast. The thing is, pinball isn't the only odd game released in the Metroid series. Sure, there's been no Metroid Dance Dance Revolution or Hotel Metroid, but there have been 3 odd releases in the Metroid series, experimental and unaccepted from the rest of the series, and I believe these 3 games together contributed to the murder of Metroid.